ought to look something like that. I put a bunch of points on there. Obviously, I put more than 3. But you've got 3 of them labeled there with a y-intercept of -6 and a slope of 1/2. Should be in pretty good shape. Okay. So here's a chance for you all to ask questions about why things ended up the way that they did. So please ask. Please don't all talk at once. Don't start shouting and interrupting each other. That's not very nice. Anybody have a question? So you know what's going to happen in about 24 hours from that right now?
Unit 2 test.
Nope.
DMR quiz.
DMR quiz on this exact same stuff. So if there were ever a chance for you to say, oh, that one more time I got a chance to talk about it, made all the difference, now would be the time. Might not be that you might not have a question, but now would be the time. Excuse me. Okay, so while you're thinking, I got just, for the moment, I guess I just have one thing to add to this, just by way of reminder for you guys. Tomorrow, there we go. We're going to be doing a project. It's going to be a 2-day project, so we're going to start it tomorrow, and the goal would be to finish it next Monday. I think we can definitely do that as long as we're on task. And you bring something tomorrow.
Laptop.
Some kind of computer, yeah. If you've got a computer, if you've got a laptop, tomorrow would be definitely the day to bring it, okay? If you don't happen to have something like that, you have a phone, I think you can still make this work. It's going to be tougher, so if you've got an option to have a phone or a computer, you definitely want to bring the computer, okay? So bring that with you. Golly, I'll do my best to remind you tonight by an update or email or something like that. But that's why I'm telling you right now, make sure that you do bring a computer or some other internet device to help you tomorrow. Tomorrow and Monday should be creative and fun, and it'll help you work with lines and get a little bit better working with lines. Okay, last chance for questions. Okay, cool. In your packets, we're going to be flipping around again today. I want to make sure we catch all the stuff we need to catch. So if you guys would, if you have this in your packets, go backwards one page to, let's see here. Go backwards 3 pages to the page that looks like this. Make sure it matches just like this page with a 2 and a 3. We did number 2 yesterday, if I remember right. Or no, we did not. We did not do 2 or 3. I want to do number, are you listening? 3. I want to do number 3. Looks just like this. I'll put this at the top of the screen. Says a line passes through the point 8, 5 and is perpendicular to this other line that's listed up there. We're supposed to write the slope-intercept equation of that line. Now, I think there might be a couple of folks in here that could maybe just take this ball and run all the way to the end zone with it and score. Maybe. I want to give you a chance to at least get started. Okay? I'm going to give you a chance to at least get started. I've shown this. Here's why. I've shown you how to do this. Maybe not with perpendicular, but I've shown you how to do this in general. I think today will be the 4th time. I'll be happy to show you again. But you got to admit, the best way to do something is to try to do it, right? So pick up your pencil and at least write something. There's got to be something. Like if you know slope-intercept form, maybe point-slope form, there's got to be something that you can engage with here. Whatever you do, don't just sit there. Try. Try and fail. Try and succeed. At this point, I don't really care. I just want you to try. Okay? Sure. So we're doing number 3. So start with number 3. Are we supposed to what? Number 3. Guys, please do number 3. Number 3. The only one that's on the screen up there right now is number 3. Chase, any thoughts?
No.
So let me just give you some individual help here.
Okay.
If you're asked to write and Doc, maybe you should listen too, since you guys are kind of looking at each other like I don't know what to do. You should probably both listen. This is going to be probably about the 10th time I've said this, and so I'm going to say it 11 or 12 or 20 or 30 or 40 or however many times I need to say it. So I want to make sure you're really engaged. If I'm going to write the equation of a line, I need to know 2 things. Do you know what they are?
Slope and y-intercept.
It's too
I mean,
specific.
and just a point.
Slope, and a point. So I want to hear you say it, Doc.
Slope and a point.
If I'm looking for the equation of a line, I got to have.
Slope and a point.
If I'm looking for the equation of a line, I need to have.
Slope and a point.
Of those 2 things, which one do I currently have? Which one was just given to us?
A point.
What point is it? Hey, Doc, you got to still be listening here. You got to still be listening here. No, you're talking to Sebastian. What point actually is on the line?
4.
No.
Right?
8 and 5.
9's the slope, right?
8,
Oh, 8
comma,
and
5 is on line. So what I fear happened right there, listen, this is so important as far as how you engage with the material. I feel like I asked you a question and your response was just like, numbers! And you just like looked on there and you just found some number and just like shouted out the first number you saw, right?
Yeah.
Does that sound like a thoughtful thing, like a strategic thing that you would do if you're trying to figure something out?
No.
I don't think so, right? Like if you were playing football and I said, hey, I need you to go up there and do your job, and the first thing you did was like tackle the goalpost. And you're just like, well, I tackled something, coach. I'm like, yeah, but you don't even know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Right? So that's kind of what this was. You're just like, a number. How about 9 or 4? Let's just throw something out there.
No, I just didn't see 8 and 5, but
That's
if I
my point,
looked,
though.
yeah, I would have.
Slow down.
Okay.
Or worse yet, you're out there playing football and you tackle your teammate. And you're like, well, coach, I tackled somebody. And he's like, well, yeah, but the other team's wearing green uniforms. You should tackle them.
Yeah.
Right? So pick out the thing you need to be dealing with.
Okay.
Do you see how it says our line goes through the point 8, comma 5?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe down below you write, okay, our point is 8, comma 5. Just so you like,
Yeah.
you want to point the slope, you've identified it and said, that's my point right there. Now the other part's a little trickier. We are not told anything about the slope, right, Doc? It doesn't say, and the slope is ... It doesn't say anything like that.
No.
But aren't we told that our line is perpendicular to that other one?
Yes.
What's the slope of that other line?
-9. Oh
Nope.
no, it's 4x.
Not 4x either.
No, right?
Hold on 1 second. I'm not looking for a final answer yet. I asked a question. I said, what's the slope of that other line?
What do you mean?
So you're told that our line, the one that we are trying to find, is perpendicular, do you see that word? To that other line.
Reciprocal, right?
Oh, but you're getting way ahead of me. Just like track with me.
Yeah.
It's like I'm saying, hey, what's for dinner? And you're like, I had potatoes for breakfast.
Yeah.
I'm like, I didn't ask that. So track with me. We're told that our line is perpendicular to that other one. What's the slope of that other line?
8 and 5.
-1. Right?
8, 5, Doc, is the point that our line goes through.
It's the 9, right? Because the y is the slope.
No, the 9 is the y coordinate for the other line.
Isn't it 4x?
It's not 4x. The slope of the other line is 4.
Oh yeah, 4.
Just 4. Do you see how that 4 is in place of our m?
Yeah.
So the slope of the other line is 4. And this is where this gets tricky. You said it earlier. You said opposite reciprocal. What's the opposite reciprocal of 4?
1.
-4.
-4.
So that's the opposite of 4 is -4. But how do we do a reciprocal?
1/4.
Negative
1/4.
1/4. Okay, so I wanted to give you guys, listen, I wanted to give you guys this little bit of help here. I'm going to go over this all over again right now. You must be engaged. Like your brain needs to be in gear. You can't be thinking about what you had for lunch or that girl you want to ask out or your bicycle or football practice or whatever the heck it is that you think about. You need to be fully engaged. Are you with me?
Yeah.
I'm right, aren't I? I
I'm
used to be 14.
okay.
I'm not that old that I don't remember this.
Okay.
You need to be fully engaged. Okay? I know I look like I'm 84. But... Okay, here we go. Hey, guys. Hey, you're not going to get that many chances to see me do this. I would encourage you to be fully engaged on what you see and hear. And I would also encourage you, if I do something up there that you look at and you're like, golly, that makes no sense, I would highly encourage you to raise your hand up and say, wow, that makes no sense. Could you explain why you did that? I would love to. So, here we go. Everybody, I hope you know the answer to this question. If I'm trying to graph a line or write the equation of a line, I need to know two things. What are those two things?
The slope and the point on...
Slope and a point on the line. And of those two things, I was just gifted one of them. I didn't have to do any work at all. I was just told what? The point on the line. Notice how it says, you got to read the words. A line, the one that we're trying to find, passes through the point 8,5. That means this line that we're all trying to find goes through that or passes through that point. And so the point on my line, oops, that's way too much. The point on my line is 8, 5. So you all said I need to know the slope as well. So I need to figure out my slope. And the bad news is it doesn't give me a second point that I could use to find my slope. It also just doesn't come out and tell me that my slope is such and such. It does give me a really big hint about slope. What is that big hint? What is it?
That's perpendicular.
Oh, the word perpendicular is super important. Our line is perpendicular to this whole other line that we got going on. Our line is perpendicular to that one. So, how do perpendicular lines relate to each other? What's the relationship there? Opposite and reciprocal. The slopes are opposite and reciprocal. So, if I could figure out what the slope of this other line is, then I'm going to know my slope too. So can anyone identify the slope of this other line? Mason, what do you see?
I said it was y equals...
Well, you're giving me way too much. You're giving me way too much. All I want to know is, I want to know the slope of that other line. So your answer should simply be a number, like 17 or 3/19 or negative 12/21 or something like that. It should just be a number. What do you see, Bray?
Negative 10?
Are you doing negative 9 plus negative 1 to get that? Where are you getting?
Positive 8.
Where are you getting this from? Tell me where you're getting this.
I don't know what you're asking. For the slope of the second one?
Yeah, slope of the second line.
It's 4/1.
The slope of the second line is 4.
Oh,
Hey guys, hey,
oh, I thought you were saying y-intercept. I got y-intercept confused with slope.
do you want to know why? Because people often refer to this. People often refer to this as y-intercept form. It's totally wrong. It's like calling you Unruh Bray. Is your first name Unruh and your last name Bray? Like it's all, I'm just calling you by the wrong name. That is not y-intercept form. It's slope-intercept form, right? So that tells you the slope and the y-intercept. Okay, so Mason kind of, he zeroed back in on this. He identified the slope of this other line as 4. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Can I ask you another question? What form is that other line in right now?
Point slope.
Point slope, yes. And so the slope is right there attached to the x minus x1. Okay, so if the slope of that line is 4, will you guys remind me, what is the relationship between perpendicular line slopes?
They're opposite and reciprocal.
Opposite and reciprocal. So what's the opposite and reciprocal of 4? It's got to be negative, right? Doesn't it have to be a negative number? Because opposite means the other side. And reciprocal means flip it. So I would say negative 1/4. Negative 1/4. This is probably the trickiest variety of these questions. Okay? So let me bring this all the way back around to the start before we can finish this. If we're trying to write the equation of any line, what are the two things I got to have? And?
Slope.
What do I have?
Point
And slope.
I got a point and a slope. Now, you got to ask a question. Mason, I noticed you leaning over there to talk to Sophia, and you're like, wait, what did he do?
What was the negative?
Is there anything I can answer for you?
Why is it not just 1/4? Why is it negative 1/4?
Great question. So the slopes of perpendicular lines, let's see here. Slopes of perpendicular lines are
It's like flipped on the
opposite. Hold on just a second. Are opposite and reciprocal. So that means two things are happening. You need to take whatever sign the number is, whether it's positive or negative, and you need to make it the other one. And you got to do the reciprocal, that multiplicative inverse where you vertically flip the fraction. Did I answer your question okay?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So here we go. If I've got a point and a slope, what would you guys think would be the easiest way to write the equation of the line? Like what form?
Point slope.
Point slope form. That's why it's called point slope form, right? Because if you've got a point and you've got a slope, it's a pretty straightforward process to get that set up. So point slope form is this: y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1, where the y1 and the x1 just stand for a y coordinate and an x coordinate, the point on the line. Can I finish my thought real quick? Well, now go, Mason. What's up?
Well, it's asking for the y, or the slope intercept.
Yes, we're going to finish with that, but here's what I want you to think about. We are definitely going to finish with that. The easiest way to get started, though, is to take the information that we have. What information do we have about our line?
Point slope.
A point and a slope. It's easiest to start off with point slope form and then go to the slope intercept form. We're going to finish with that. Absolutely, we're going to finish with that. But since what I have is a point and a slope, the easiest way to get started is with point slope form. That's what this was built for. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I'll highlight this for you. The 8 is an x-coordinate. That's going to go right there. You should be looking at the screen, not me. The 5 is a y-coordinate, so it's going to go right there. And the m is negative 1/4, so that's going to go right there. So really, honest to God, all this comes down to at this point is, can you plug stuff in where it's supposed to go? So check it out. Y minus 5 equals negative 1/4 times x minus 8. I just dropped stuff in there where it was supposed to go. And at this point, I've got a really good point slope version of the line. But as Mason pointed out, that's not what we were asked for. We were asked to find slope intercept. And this is what we practiced yesterday and the day before. Does anybody have any suggestions on how I could take this, which is currently in point slope form, and turn it into slope intercept form? Sasha, what do you think?
You distribute the negative 1/4.
Great idea. So I'm going to distribute this negative 1/4. So this gives me y minus 5 equals negative 1/4 x. What's negative 1/4 times negative 8? 1/4 of 8 is 2, right? 8 divided by 4, essentially. Would it be minus 2? Or would it be plus? Why would it be plus?
Because it's negatives.
Negative times a negative, so plus 2. Is this currently in slope intercept form?
No.
What's wrong with it? Yes, I need to get rid of the 5. I need to do it by adding 5, as was suggested. So if I go plus 5 to both sides, I end up with this awesome final answer of y equals negative 1/4 x plus 7. And now Mason's happy, I'm happy, hopefully we're all happy, because that's now the correct line in slope intercept form. Can I ask you another question about this? If the instruction said write the point slope equation of the line, where would we have stopped? Yeah. If that was the instruction, oh come on, I would have stopped up here. So in the upper blue box, that's point slope. The lower blue box is slope intercept. They're both correct, but because I was asked to go to slope intercept form, that's why I need to take it all the way down here for my final answer. Okay, how we doing? Do you see why you need to be fully mentally engaged to even have a chance?
Yeah.
If you allow yourself to be distracted, you have almost no chance. If you tie half your brain behind your back, it's not going to go well. Yet some of us choose to do that. Hope that you will choose to be fully engaged. want to know the good news? We're going to keep practicing. Okay? We're not going to quit. We're going to get better. But before we do so, do you have any follow-ups? Okay, let me see if I can find another nice example that will kind of be like this. We did that one. Okay, let's do... Sorry, I'm thinking, please don't lose it. Okay. I'll tell you what, this is another nice example. Let's just go up the page to number 2. I really like this example. I think this is probably going to be a really good one for us to try. So this says a line passes through the point -4, 7 and is parallel to this other line. Write the slope-intercept equation of the line. So I want to give you another chance here to get started. I'm going to remind you, if you're going to try to write the graph or the equation of any line, you need to start off with 2 things. What are those 2 things? A slope and a point that's on the line. So let's see if we can pick out any of that stuff from the description and at least get a good start, right? Hopefully you can finish, but at least get a good start. What's the form of this line right now? What's the form of this? Is that in the slope or slope-intercept or anything like that? So if you want to know what the slope is, you're going to need to get into slope-intercept form. You got to get the y by itself. If you want to know what slope is, you got to have the y by itself. I don't think so. Did you divide by 2? Did you divide both sides by 2? I think you only divided the 6 by 2 on the right side. Yeah. So what's x over 2? It's 1/2. If you're in slope-intercept form, it does need to be, I think it should be -3, right? Or no, -6? I think you can divide everything through by 2, so it would be -3. To be honest with you, the only thing that really matters, there's only one thing that matters. If our line is parallel to that line, what's the relationship between parallel lines? Slopes are what? Slopes are equal. There we go. So it does say write the slope-intercept equation of your line. But I would. Yep. But like we did before, Julia, since at this point you now have a point that's on the line and the slope, start off with a point slope, and then work your way towards slope-intercept. Yeah. As long as you do it correctly, yeah, you can't add the 7 to the 4, right? Because it's not really a 4. But you can add the 7. So fine. Yes. Yes. Yep. Yes, you may. That's right. That's pretty good. You have a good idea? Oh, you have a question? I thought you said you had a good idea. What's your question? You found a point. Perfect. Well, we need to work on getting this over. I'll show everybody. I'm going to meet you guys right where you're at. You guys, so listen, this is a great example. where you guys started off moving, and maybe there was only a mistake or two there, but I can work with that. You can work with that. You were in a place where you could fix it. Okay, I don't think you're as lost as you think you are. I think this will help. Yes, ma'am. Can I show a solution real quick? Okay. And if I don't answer your question, you let me know.
I think I have it. I just have one.
Okay. Okay, so hey guys, hey, this is where you've got to be focused. Sydney, Sasha, thanks. So as you all mentioned earlier, the two things we got to have is a point that's on the line and a slope. So of those two things, weren't we just given the point? That was a question.
Yes.
Oh, excellent, Sebastian. What point is actually on our line?
-4 and 7.
-4. Hey guys, all the chit chat. It's okay to work on math. Just whisper. So -4, 7. Come on. So as I walked around, the handful of folks that I chatted with for a little while, the number one question was, I get what the point is, that's not that hard, but I can't figure out what the slope should be. Okay? So let's talk about that. We are not told the slope, but we are told that our line is, check the screen out, parallel to this other line. So what's the relationship between parallel line slopes?
Equal.
They're the same. They're equal. Listen, please. So if I could just figure out the slope of that other line, I'd have everything I need and I could finish, right? It's really tempting to say this. Please look at the screen. It's really tempting to say this. The only problem is that is not the slope of that other line. What would be the best way for me to figure out the slope of that other line? Yes, Bree?
Well, you have to solve the problem, so you have to get y by itself.
Because if I get y by itself, what form would I be in for that one?
Slope intercept form.
That's right. So I'm going to write 2y minus x plus 6 equals 0. If I could take that into slope-intercept form, it'd be a pretty easy step for me to figure out what the slope of that line is. What would we do to try to get that into slope-intercept form? What would you do?
So I started off by subtracting 6.
I like it. So 0 minus 6,
Yeah.
-6. What would be another good step? Go ahead, Julia.
Add x to this guys.
Yeah, so that would give me 2y equals positive x minus 6. Is this now in slope-intercept form?
No.
It's almost.
You have to divide by 2.
I've got to divide by 2. So if I divide by 2 on both sides, like we've practiced before, and now I am in slope-intercept form, so this would be y equals x over 2 minus 3. Oh, come on. There we go. Can anybody pick the slope out of that?
Yes.
It's really tempting to say x over 2, isn't it? But it's 1x over 2, so it's 1/2 for a slope. Okay, what did you guys say about parallel line slopes?
They're equal.
They got to be same. They're equal to each other, so that means that my slope is 1/2. So Ella, Doc, Isa, Sebastian, have I answered your question?
Yep.
Because you guys, right? Are we good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, awesome. Okay. I want you guys to see the pattern here. What are the two things, Trevor, that I have about my line? I got two pieces of info. So, Trevor, what form makes sense then for me to use? If I've got a point and I've got a slope, what form should I start to use here? Yeah. And point slope form, of course, is y minus a y coordinate equals slope times x minus an x coordinate. And I'll color code it again. This is my x coordinate, so it's going to go there. This is my y coordinate, so it's going right there. And this is my slope, so it's going right there. So here we go. Y minus 7 equals 1/2. This is where it gets tricky. What's x minus the x coordinate really?
Adding.
Yeah, isn't it x minus negative 4?
Yes.
Which are really going to turn into what?
X plus 4.
X plus 4. So I'll just turn this into x plus 4. How are we doing?
Well.
Any questions? Anybody? Hey, it always sounds good in my head, but if I'm saying something that's confusing you, you should speak up and say, no, I need some help. All right. So let me see if I can get some help from you guys. What would be a good first step to get this into that final slope-intercept form? Sydney? Distribute, okay. So if I distribute the 1/2, I get y minus 7 equals 1/2 x. What's 1/2 times positive 4? Plus 2, right? So plus 2 here. Is this in slope-intercept form as it stands? What's my final step?
Add 7.
Plus 7. So if I add 7 over, here's my final answer. Y equals 1/2 x plus 9. In the blue box, that's what we want. How are we doing? Getting some thumbs up, a couple of smiley faces, but I could be mistaken. How are we doing? Okay. Let's keep rolling. Let's get lots of good practice in today. So let's push forward here. I'm gonna move forward to this. Please go to. This will be. I kind of like all 4 of these. So I don't know how fast you're going to be. This is it's our last section here. This is on Unit 2, Day 16. So if you could try to do these in order. I'll just have all 4 of them up there for those that maybe didn't have this last couple of pages in your packet. I want you to write the equation of a vertical line, a horizontal line, figure out a slope, and think about a slope-intercept equation of a line. Please try to be efficient here. That stinks. On which one?
The first, second, third, and fourth.
Really?
Wait, the third and fourth?
So disappointed. Okay.
Is it like one of the things 0?
So a vertical line, like remember my ski analogy?
Vertical's this way.
No.
So then that's the y, and then it would be.
No. If you tried to ski a vertical line, you would get. So it's x equals, right? If you tried to ski a horizontal line,
Why would I ski?
why would I ski that?
Yeah.
You with me?
Yeah. So then
So it's
you try to find x.
5.
Oh, okay. So, okay.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. Like, were you just listening though?
Yeah.
Like, so, hey, for those that think they can do this, do it. For those that are feeling confused or whatever, listen carefully to me. Number 1 says write the equation of a vertical line. I'm going to stop right there. I'm not going to write anything else, or I'm not going to read anything else. I'm going to immediately write this. X equals.
Because it's vertical.
Because it's vertical. Remember, if you tried to ski a vertical line, you would get x'd out. That means that the only variable in a vertical line is x.
Alright.
Then, I got to figure out what x is actually equal to. I can get that right off my point. It would be -5.
That's
Never
it.
mind, I get it.
This is the equation of a vertical line going through that point.
Oh, that's it.
So, and
Yes, done.
horizontal would just be y equals
Negative
-4.
4.
Done.
Wait, so when you're doing like this one, don't you do like y2 minus y1 at the top and then x2?
Yep.
Okay.
You got it.
But then wouldn't that not be a slope because it's over 0 and it's not?
So the slope,
It's
how would you finish that sentence? Use
0.
No. The
It's,
zero's a number.
It's no solution.
I'm going to say doesn't exist.
Doesn't exist.
Or you could say undefined.
Undefined.
Because you can't do the thing, like the thing that you're looking at and saying, hey, wait a minute, you can't do that? That's exactly right, which means that that number doesn't exist, which you could say the slope is undefined.
Okay.
Slope-intercept equation is y minus y1.
That's point slope. Slope-intercept is y equals mx plus b. Yep.
Oh, you do that.
How we doing? We got numbers 1 and 2. Looks like 3 is blank on a couple pages. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so for this one, changing the y, we change the x.
Yep, everything looks great, including your conclusion. Yep, looks fantastic. Mason, how are we doing with 1 and 2?
I don't even know how to do. I don't
Man,
understand.
I tried. So you see number 1 is a vertical line, right? So if you tried to ski a vertical line, you would get.
Next up.
So that means a vertical line will always be what you see up there.
So
X
it'd be
equals.
0, negative I?
No. A vertical line is always X, like literally just a variable X, equals, and in this case it goes through X equals negative 5. So that's the equation of line. If you try to ski a horizontal line, what would you say?
Y equals negative 4.
Why would I ski that? No, why
Y
would I ski that?
equals negative 4.
Y equals negative 4. That's what that analogy is all about, just to set you up for success. Because you're like, horizontal, why would I ski that? Y equals, and in this case, Y equals negative 4. Yes, ma'am.
Did I get the last 2 right?
We're going to check them right now. Hey, I've reshared, guys, ladies. I know that I'm interrupting, and I do apologize, but we got to keep moving forward. Guys, are we okay with 1 and 2? The ski analogy holding true for you?
Yes.
Good. Good. Me too. So number 3 says, what is the slope of the line that passes through those points? So please remember that your slope formula is the change in the y's divided by the change in the x's. And so I would call this first point, I would call this point number 1. I would call this point number 2. So there's going to be a number of you that think you have this right that don't. I want to make sure that you're clear on this before we go. What is my second y coordinate?
Negative 7.
What is my first?
I'm so stupid.
It's 8. Shh. Hey. How do you find the difference between two numbers? You subtract. What about my second x? What's that?
6. Wait, no, I was right.
What is my first x?
6.
Please don't pack up yet. We're not even close. You find the difference by subtracting, correct? Okay. What's the numerator's value? Negative 15. What about the denominator's value?
0.
Now listen, this is where some of you went wrong. Sydney, please listen. You did. So I had a number of folks that looked at this and said, hey, the slope is negative 15. Not true. I had a couple of other folks that said, oh, the slope must be 0. Also not correct. Is it okay? Yeah, is it okay to divide by 0?
So is it 0?
So, no.
It's negative 0.
No.
It's undefined.
The slope is undefined. Okay. Can't divide by 0. This doesn't work. Okay, number 4. Number 4 says, what is the slope-intercept equation of the line that passes through the point 0, 5? I'm going to be patient and wait. We're going to finish what I need to finish. Sasha, let's cease the hair salon. Thanks. So let me ask you guys a question. You've heard this question before. If you're going to write the equation or graph of a line, what are the two things you got to have?
A point and a slope.
What information do I have in number 4 about my line? Oh my gosh, it's a point and a slope. Right? For like the 10,000th time, it's a point and a slope. So what I'm going to use is point slope form. Y minus a y coordinate equals slope times x minus an x coordinate. Okay, so what's the y coordinate on my line? Yeah, shout it out. It's a 5. What's the slope of my line? 2, right? You see it?
I did y equals 2x plus 5. Yeah, what's wrong with that?
Guess what? We're going to end up in that exact same spot here in a second.
Seriously?
Oh, yeah.
So I just did it a different way then.
What is the x coordinate that's on the line? Okay, so I want to transform this over to slope-intercept form. Trevor? Nothing really worth checking out back that way. This is where it's at, right here. What's x minus 0?
0.
X minus 0 is not 0. It's x. So I get y minus 5 equals 2x. Is this in slope-intercept form?
No.
You have to add to both.
Plus 5. Y equals
Please don't pack up yet. Hey,
7x.
please don't pack up yet.
2x.
2x plus 5 are unlike terms, and so it has to be left as y equals 2x plus 5. Okay.
brilliant. You skipped all the steps.
So, no, don't pack up yet. Okay. I want to see how good you guys are with a couple of these here. This will be a nice little chance for me to review. Please don't pack anything up. Will you guys look at the red line real quick? What do you guys think the equation of the red line is? The equation is definitely not 0.
Y equals 5
Where did you come up with that?
because of the 5.
Yeah, why did you come up with that exact equation?
Because why would I see that?
Why would I ski that horizontal line? Please don't pack up yet. This is y equals 5. How about the equation of the blue? The equation is x equals negative 3. Now, I keep hearing people say none and 0. What's the slope of the red line? Slope of the red line is 0.
Because it's flat. Yeah.
So you're confusing equation of line with slope of line. The equation is y equals negative 5. What's the rise on that red line? How far does it rise up?
0.
No, it rises up 0. Like if you pick any 2 points here, how far? What's the rise between those 2 points? So the slope is 0. Yeah. Can anybody tell me the slope on the blue line?
None.
Undefined. Yeah. Or you could say no slope. Yeah. Please don't pack up yet. Okay. I want to try one more of these. You guys look at the green line.
Yeah.
What's the y-intercept on the green line? What's the slope?
Up 1 over 2.
So 1/2, as was said. So what's the equation of the green line? What do you think? So